Hello! This is another Craviotto, probably not a surprise to anyone, but there you go. This drum is, I'm not sure it's a one-off, but having said that, I've not seen any more. Not that really means a whole lot. I mean, I don't know that everything that comes out of the Craviotto factory, but I've certainly not seen any more in this finish. I've seen another snare drum, but in a different size, which was actually the one that put me onto this one, but I'll come to that a bit later. As I may have said before, I was never historically a big fan of Piccolos. When I first started playing them, when I first started gigging 20 something whatever years ago, I had a couple of 13x3s, and as most people will have experienced, the graduation between going and playing in your bedroom to playing out with a band, you subsequently start hitting harder, and my experience with the 13x3s was basically the harder I hit, the more I felt like I was going through the drum, and it just didn't feel cool. So I ended up selling those couple of drums and moving to sort of a slightly deeper size, to where now I suppose my preference is a 14 6.5 really for most things. My buddy Carl is in a ska band, and I've been watching them for 3 or 4 years, sort of on and off. It's a great band, it's a cool gig, fun songs, and earlier this year Carl contacted me to ask if I wanted to adept for him on the odd occasion that he needed such, and I said yes, and I did a few rehearsals earlier in the year with the band with this drum, which is a 14x5 Spawn carbon fibre, and I originally picked that drum instead of picking a Piccolo, because I wanted a sound that wasn't quite metal and wasn't quite wood, and at a sort of size that I could crank it up quite high as well and get a nice crack out of it. And I used it for a couple of, maybe I think the first two rehearsals, and I just wasn't really feeling that either. So I dug out the Montanari actually, and I dug that out much better, and I put the groove wedge on it, used that for a couple of gigs, and that was definitely the right sound for that band, because it's a ska band. You know, it lends itself quite nicely to a higher pitched crack from a snare drum, and I used that on a couple of gigs, tuned it down actually even slightly, and to take a little bit of the sting off the high end and to get a little bit more body. Works really nicely actually. I will do a separate video on that particular drum at some point, but that's a really cool drum. But I kind of I think that was probably one of the few occasions where I've actually used a drum and on one gig one night, and then picked it up and used it again for a consecutive gig. I don't tend to do that very often. There has to be a specific reason why I would do that, and this basically being the sound of, you know, the right sound for that band was that reason. But I wanted to change it up anyway, so I dug out this drum, and funny enough actually, this is, well, obviously as I said, it's a Craviotto. It's one of the few drums I didn't actually change the logo head out on, but it's a solid shell maple, and it's in the very wonderful Peacock Sparkle, which if I sort of flick that around. There you go. I'll flick that around. Maybe you can see the lovely colouring on that. Now, Peacock Sparkle was a nod to a finish that I can't remember who it was. Might have been Leedy. It was either Leedy or Slingerland. Used to do, and my buddy Joe Kenny, I know because I saw yesterday, has a kit in this finish which I know he was selling actually this weekend. Oh, he was trying to sell this weekend. I don't know if he has or not. But just to show, Joe, if you see this, that people do look at what you post on your blog. There you go. But I saw that, and that's yeah, that's the original Peacock Sparkle. This is the sort of repro finish. And I've got the groove wedge on here as well, which again, for all the the Scar stuff, this works a treat. If you've never tried one, it's the Yamaha groove wedge, 19 ply maple, absolutely fabulous. Really does make a difference. Even the trumpet player told me that. So yes, but this drum, let me see, it's 2010. This drum was made, and I probably did get it in 2010 as well. And I think, as I've said before, with at least one or two other drums, I saw Steve Maxwell had a 14 by 6.5 Peacock Sparkle snare drum in his New York store, and I saw it and I was, oh no, and then I changed my mind again, and I thought, oh, I'll email Steve, and of course, like every other time, I just missed the boat on it, and he said, no, I've just sold it, but I have another drum, and this particular snare drum was part of a bop kit in Peacock Sparkle, and if you have a look at, if I remember, I'll put the link in. Steve Maxwell did a webisode of just a rundown of some of the stuff that he had in the New York store, and this was he featured this kit, or he mentioned this kit. Or the kit that this was from, and the snare drum, and he did actually offer me the kit. I think it was 12, 14, 18, and the snare drum, and I just didn't have the money. As cool a kit as certainly it looked, and I'm sure it would sound. Excuse me. I just didn't have the money, but I'd be lying. I can't even remember how much I paid for this. No, I can't even remember how much I paid for it now. But I said, well, look, he offered me this drum. He said he'd break the kit for me, and I said that'd be wonderful. And he sent it over, and it's I've not got it cranked up. No, see, there's still a reasonable bit of sort of play in there. It's not like a tabletop. In terms of the drum, it's again, like all the Craviottos, tube lugs. There's 8 tube lugs, double-ended, triple flanged hoops. Good old trick strainer there. Ambassador logo on the top, and clear snare side on the bottom. Craviotto hoops. The date's actually September the 7th, 2010, and the serial number is 0222 on this one. So it's largely sort of unremarkable in the sense that it's the only thing that sort of makes it, I guess, really not unique but special, maybe rare, is that it's in Peacock Sparkle. I've not actually seen, I was aware of the finish, I was aware of the vintage finish. I think it was from something that Harry Kangany did many years ago, one of his vintage pieces, so I was aware of the finish. But to actually see it in the flesh, yeah, it's a lovely. It's different. It's very different, and I think oddly enough, actually, the Montanari is in pink champagne sparkle, which actually isn't sort of. I guess if you're looking from afar, that dissimilar from this. So you know, the two drums are quite similar well, they're the same dimensions. That's just a ply maple, and this is a solid maple. And so the finish is not too dissimilar either. But as I said, I've not seen, apart from the 14 6.5, I've not seen any others in this particular finish. I think Steve obviously did sell the remainder of the kit. I'd imagine he probably had another snare made for that. But all in all, yeah, nice drum. I say that on these things, don't I? Well, if it wasn't a nice drum, I wouldn't own it. So there you go. That's my justification for that. But it's a nice drum, and as you'll hear, it's you know, it's got a great sound to it as well. And yeah, that's that. Thank you for watching. I'll do a sound file, and you can check out how it sounds for yourselves. Until next time, thank you.
Alright, you thought that was lively. This one's even livelier. There's a punk ska song from California. We recorded this on our first album. It's called Time Bomb. And breathe.